So something that I've been struggling. Yeah, what a word. Um, Something I've been struggling with for quite a while now is being the light bringer and the teacher, and the one that knows it all. Is the okay, I will just continue. I restarted this video like 3 times over because there was mosquitoes and then was this and this. I really want people, when they are in the awakening process or even as a sort of aftercare, I want to help them, guide them through this phase, because I know from my own experience the struggle I went through when I started realizing things like, this is all the matrix, this is all an illusion, we live in a simulation. And then, everything just starts to fall apart, and the mind is trying to understand it and grasp it. The fear that pops up of losing the mind, and then the ego just trying to hold on to things, and there's nothing to be hold on to, and doing ayahuasca ceremonies or something similar, meditation, hypnosis, kundalini awakening, all this shit, and then of course then all the old patterns start to arise, all the old fears and struggles and ways that we've been taught in our upbringing. And maybe even if you awaken like when you're really young and you already know so much, but still like everybody around you seems to still be sleeping in this slumber, the retards as a friend likes to call them. It feels so lonely. And for me, my struggle mainly is that I see the other struggle, and I really sincerely want to help them and guide them, but I also know that pushing them, or me like being the light bringer and here's the other, it doesn't really work. I mean, yesterday it all became really clear again. It's not like the first time, that when I play the teacher role, people generally either look up to me, like, he knows it all, so tell me everything, explain. And I'll often get this question of, how? And I try to explain, it's not about the how, it's actually about letting go of the how, of how does it work, what do I do, how can I reach this level. So they put me on a pedestal, while I see the tendency of my ego liking this, because it's a protective mechanism of my own vulnerability and my need, or past need, the pattern of wanting to be heard, which ties into my stepdad always trying to be right and discussing, and endless discussions, and when I came home from school, I learned something new. I had this beautiful insight, and I shared it, and then it got wiped from the table, destroyed. Like, you're so, you know, you live in a fantasy world. You're such a dreamer. It's not realistic. And that was just him, dealing with his old childhood when he had a brother and sister who went to university while he barely finished college. It's his own insecurity, and it's his inability to deal with his emotions, which is like normal with the after the Second World War generation. Or with men in general. So my desperate need for wanting to be heard comes from this, but it's not about me needing to be heard. It's more like I see that there's a part of me that wants to protect me. It wants to protect my vulnerability. So I need the other one to get it. Well, which brings me to the next thing. I need everyone around me to be okay, for me to be okay. That's a main theme that is popping up for quite a while now, and it's been showing itself in when I met Tom and I told my story about being the Lightbringer, and he had so many questions and I had so many answers, of course. And I'm fine with this teacher-student, but I'd rather not have it like this, more like this, because I'm also a student. As a teacher, I'm also learning things. So I'm also open to his reflections, and rather than dictate, okay, so this is how you should do it, as a teacher trainer, I asked him questions like, how are you experiencing this, and how do you give expression to this? Man, I find it so hard to talk about this. But I'll continue. I mean, I'm trying to. I noticed that the urge to make a point, and maybe rather than making a point, I would rather share my story with you. So yesterday, there's this guy from Finland, and he is like very analytical, which for him is like a protection method of not feeling, because obviously feeling is like a dangerous place. So, and I can really relate to this because I've been like that for a long time, and there's still this part is still alive in me as well. Understanding it first before allowing the feeling to be. And I've been reversing that. Like, first I feel into it, I just feel, and of course the mind thinks 1,000 things about it, tries to comprehend it, and usually I just let the mind do its thing, like a river flowing by. I just observe it and then just feel, and sometimes it's not even very clear what I'm feeling. I just allow myself to be. That's my main thing. So there's not just feelings, there's all kinds of sensations in the being. I'm just, at that moment, I'm just being. So while Tom was having a conversation with this Finnish guy. For me, it felt like they were on this thinking level, and it felt like exhausting to me. So I zoomed out, closed my eyes, went into this being mode, and then the thought popped up, are they not seeing me? And now that I'm sharing this with you, it becomes really clear. Am I not being seen? So I think this was the root of what happened after. So 10 minutes in, 50 minutes in, their conversation, I started asking questions. I don't remember exactly what happened, but I think I asked Miro a question or something, and then I noticed him being stuck in this mental loop, and I desperately wanted to have him break free of that loop by pointing it out how he closes the loop again and again. And this is something I've been expressing a lot to people lately, like how we close the loop with the what if, right? So what I noticed, he understood something, he got somewhere, he started realizing something, maybe he even started feeling something, and then, yeah, but what if, and then we create a scenario which closes the loop, because then you're back at point A. You start at point A, you start feeling point B, then what if point C, and suddenly you're back at point A again, closing the loop. And then I started pushing. Then what Tom expressed to me, what he saw me doing, it like I came from an ego, like it was about me. And this could very well be. I mean, let's just say that was true as well. But also, I also noticed, like, oh man, I can no longer listen to people closing the loop again and again, getting themselves stuck again. Because then it feels like, for me, like the victim. And the victim doesn't want to be rescued. They don't want to be saved. They don't want to be fixed. They want to be the victim, because if you fix the victim, then there's nothing left for them. The yeah, but people. They say yeah, but closing the loop. I can no longer listen to this, so I want to break the cycle, and I want to, it's like, sometimes it feels like force feeding. Force feeding my knowledge, put my knowledge in their system so they break through it. And I mean well, of course, but I also notice that this sometimes comes from my need, and this is something I realized yesterday and slowly started to get a grasp of it today, and I get it on some level, and that's why I decided to make this video first, because I wanted to put it in writing, and when I write I slow down, and then I understand, and I come from this understanding level. But I wanted to make this video raw and share just this first, this experience, this story, this what happened. So even though I was coming on strong, I just felt like I need to point this out, otherwise he's gonna be stuck again. And of course, this is not up to me. I mean, if I ask myself the question, dude, do you trust this person to go through this process on his own, with or without our guidance? And yeah, I do. So maybe, yeah, this is something that pops up right now. Maybe I fell for the trap, because this often also happens. People ask, so how do I do this? How do I do this? And they're not really asking. They also are asking for validation. Man, it is. I mean, he also said it. Yeah, it's so easy that we make it complex. And I was saying, no, it is easy. We make it complex. I'm still struggling trying to get this message across, but before I started this video, I set the intention of just sharing rather than explaining, and I noticed I'm still explaining. The teacher in me, the Lightbringer, it wants to explain, it wants to show the world, like, listen, this is how it is. Stop questioning everything, start experiencing. And I see Tom struggling on camera and just, expressing it all. And I used to do the same thing, and now I'm trying to do the same thing again. It doesn't feel like authentic. The authentic part is me feeling very vulnerable right now, and there's this insecurity, like, what are you babbling about? But I'll just continue. Sometimes it helps when people ask you questions. Yeah, I'm rolling a cigarette. Tobacco. It's Royal Bourbon. So my girlfriend has been pointing this out to me, that sometimes you're overwhelming people with all your knowledge and insights. And she had this beautiful conversation with a young guy in Thailand, and as soon as I entered the stage, yes, Mr. Lightbringer enters center stage, and I took over the whole conversation and pointing the guy, and this and this, and it's like this, and it's like this, and it's like this, and it's. Now I look at it and it's like, whoa, this is like my stepdad, or this version of my stepdad. The need to be heard, to be seen, to be validated. Like, yeah, you know so much. Why? I know a lot, and I know a lot of it. A lot of the knowledge has become wisdom because it's lived through. I live by this knowledge, and I also see, like, my human side, my human part, my ego, one might say. He loves I think some part of me loves people looking up to me, and at the same time there's another side that hates it, because being put on a pedestal means also you have to deliver, right? And then this fear, this is what also popped up yesterday, the fear of being uncovered. How do you say this? When the truth is being revealed, I don't know. I cannot find a word. Like someone who's been telling a lie for a long time, and suddenly people see through the lies. Yeah, like being unmasked. You know what I mean? It's like I mean, I know it comes from the fear of failure. Yeah, being found out. Like, so yeah, yes. So for weeks I've been talking with Tom, beautiful conversations. He asking me so many questions. I try to provide so many answers. And in the meantime, also just talking about his whole process that he's going through. But I also see, like, you know, he has his own process, and he's doing a great job. So yeah, I mean, I think it's you have like the rescuer, the victim, and the critic. And so the victim is shouting, "Please help, help me." And the rescuer is trying his utmost best to help, to rescue, to fix. And at some point, it's just too much. He gives up. He's like, I'm never going to be able to fix this person. And then the victim suddenly switches role and becomes the critic. Yeah, you. And I also felt yesterday like, yeah, so now Tom saw this side of me. And of course now he's seeing through my masks, my disguises, and yeah, now he's gonna hate me for it, and which didn't happen. Yeah. So I want to make more of these videos, just talking, sharing my thoughts, experiences. And of course, there's still the need for validation somewhere, and I will just let it be. And I would love it if you have questions, because questions help me focus. But even without your questions, I will continue talking. Thanks for listening.